How has it helped me? I think what the psychedelics have always done for me is help me to contain more of myself and to contain more of the world in myself. So, I like this idea of like complexity tolerance, where it's a little bit like, comes from Dan Siegel, psychiatrist's idea of the window of tolerance, which is kind of using the trauma world, where it's like, we've each got a window of what we can tolerate. And once we get past that, we'll either go into hyper arousal. So like fight or flight, like, I'm going to fight this thing to make it go away and feel safe again. Or we go into hypo arousal, which is kind of shut down, depressed, I can't move. And I think that shows up politically and socially a lot, where there's just so much complexity that we're faced with. We're not living on mountainsides herding sheep and have deep rituals that sort of bind us to the community, and we're able to, sure, people in the past had to deal with a lot of stuff in their life. People passed away, relationships ended, all that kind of, the same things we're dealing with. But we're dealing with that turned up to 11 million, right? That's just undeniable. The amount of information we're exposed to, everything we have to deal with, this strange psychedelic realm of the internet, where we're now spending so much of our time, this kind of realm of symbols and implicit meaning and wild, chaotic sort of eruptions of psychic energy. We are
and manipulative actors with whom, like, because of that, it's like insidiously uncertain around the reliability of any particular thing that you're encountering.
Exactly that. Yeah. And so this very noir, I like to call it like film noir kind of reality. In the film noir, you have this like detective who's going through the kind of underworld trying to solve a crime, usually to try to like find a dame, like, he gets a kind of like, there's a missing woman. And so in a film noir, like everything is revealed as sort of corrupt. Like the judge is corrupt, the priest is corrupt, everyone's in on it, right? And so there's this sense, and I think that's late stage capitalism combined with social media creates that sort of like, holy shit, everything is just gross in a lot of ways. So we are dealing with this really unprecedented level of weirdness, as Eric Davis would call it, and intensity and complexity all at the same time. So one thing psychedelics have helped me to do, and I'm by no means like a master of this, but it's just helped me in some way, is to navigate and move with that more fluidly, because in a psychedelic experience, there's just a shitload going on, and it's like intensity, and you might be having 3 or 4 thoughts at the same time and dealing with really deep kind of knotty emotional topics that are coming up. And it's got a kind of language to it, the psychedelic experience, which is one of interconnected, swirling, kind of symbolic meaning and much more, right? It's all of the things. It's also embodied. You're feeling it in your body. It's all going on at the same time. So the more that I've had those experiences and come through them successfely, or sometimes with a bit of damage, but relatively unscathed. Yeah, inevitable. Relatively unscathed. I'm like, okay, well, this is a skill. This is a skill that we all learn if we take our psychedelics responsibly and with mind. And I think that's the skill. That's one of the skills that I certainly have been able to take to, like, okay, culture is crazy, but how do I delve into it and try and get a sense of what's going on?